Alien abduction. If you are a living person, you have heard this phrase at least once in your life. Alien abduction is a term to describe one's memory of being taken by something not of this world. People all over this planet claim to have seen or even been kidnapped by extraterrestrials. As far back as the 1890s, people have experienced this terrifying phenomenon, whether it is in the middle of the night in the forest or straight out of a person's bed. Do people really get taken against their will by aliens, or is it all in their heads? Let's look into the strange and horrific world of alien abduction. The first ever record of attempted alien abduction happened in November of 1896. Colonel H.G. Shaw stated that him and a friend were almost taken by three beings that were not human. He described these creatures as having tall, slender bodies that was covered in hair. This began a long history of alien abductions. The most well-known alien abduction happened on September 19, 1961. Betty and Barney Hill claimed that while they were driving down a road in New Hampshire, they were abducted by extraterrestrials. Sometime around 10:30 p.m., Betty and Barney were on their way back home from Niagara Falls. Betty said she had seen a dot of light in the sky that was moving around. According to her, the light was moving fast around the moon. While Barney continued to drive, Betty thought she was seeing a shooting star until the object went upwards. She told her husband to pull the car over so she could take the dog for a walk. She also took the opportunity to get a better look at the anomaly. They parked at a rest area near Twin Mountain. Using a pair of binoculars, she watched the craft. The object had flashing, multicolored lights. She now suspected that she was watching a flying saucer, since her sister claimed to see one several years before. When Barney looked through the binoculars, he thought it was just an airplane, until it suddenly made its way towards them. They hurried into the car and drove off toward Francona Notch, a narrow part of the road that was surrounded by mountains. As the couple still drove down the road, the craft passed over their car and flew over a restaurant and a radio tower on Cannon Mountain. Betty testified that the object was continuously rotating and that it was at least 18 meters long, or about 60 feet. The craft swiftly moved towards their vehicle, causing Barney to slam on his brakes in the middle of the road. It hovered silently above 80 feet over the hill's car. Barney, with a pistol in hand, he left the car and walked towards the craft. Looking through the binoculars, Barney said he saw 8 to 11 beings through the windows of the craft. The beings were wearing black uniforms and matching caps that had a glossy finish to them. He sprinted back to the car, yelling to Betty, "They're going to capture us." The object moved back over their vehicle. Barney was going down the road at high speeds. Betty rolled down the window and stuck her head out. When she did, the vehicle started to vibrate, and both Betty and Barney's bodies started to tingle. Their minds began to dull, and they described being in a different state of consciousness. When they came to, they had noticed that they had traveled 35 miles down the road. Their memories from the time of the alleged abduction to when they woke up were very spotty. We go from the most famous case to the lesser-known stories. A U.S. military man claims that he was being stalked by a UFO. After wishing to remain anonymous, he told UFO researchers that during a ride on a snowmobile in the state of Michigan, he was followed, then abducted by a UFO. The UFO was described as having lights on the side forming a disc shape. The lights were so bright that they lit up the surrounding areas. He said that the object didn't make a sound. After the incident, the man called his wife and he tried to tell her what happened. She told him that 2 hours had passed, even though he claimed that the incident took place over a couple of minutes. Reddit user Sad Splinter was so excited for a party that they would be going to in just a couple of days. They went to bed. When they woke up, they had seen that it was the day of the party. A day's worth of events were just gone. They couldn't remember anything from the day before. A little while after, they started having dreams about being strapped to a table with bright lights shining in their eyes. They could hear what sounded like words in another language. So what do skeptics say about these events? Let's find out in part 2 of alien abductions. Thank you so much for watching this video by At Night. If you have ever been abducted by aliens or ever seen a UFO, please leave a comment below and tell your story. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more content like this.